Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue.
Go there and knock and they say, hey, just 1 minute, wait. 1 minute.
Now, opening the platform to audience. Audience, you can ask your questions to Sadhguru.
Hi Sadhguru, I'm Amrita, Research Scholar, Department of English, CEG. So it's been 1 year since you came to Chennai, and we were all active participants in the Rally for the Rivers. So was it just an awareness, environmental awareness drive, or was it much more? And have things changed since then?
This was not planned, but I'm telling you. For Rally for Rivers, we were in Chennai on 10th September 2017. Today is exactly 1 year. This was not planned, somehow this felt like that. In 1 year, much more than we expected has happened. One thing is, we have formed a very eminent board where a former chairperson of ISRO, the Space Research Organization, is part of the Rally for Rivers now in the active board. There's a Supreme Court judge who's part of it. The CEO of the World Wildlife Fund is in the board. And the expert on Farmers Producer Organization, who is known as the father of FPOs, is with us. And the foremost water expert in the country, he is with us. So we have a fantastic board right now. On the ground, what has happened is, we presented this to the Prime Minister at the end of September 2017. I presented this document, which is about 760 pages of recommendations of different things that needs to be done with our rivers. I presented this to him around 6:15, 6:20 in the evening. At 11 o'clock next day morning, our office gets a call from the Prime Minister's office that they want a soft copy because Prime Minister has already formed a special group to address these issues. I thought, this is quick for a government.
Yeah, no kidding.
Then I requested that this should not go to the Environment Ministry. This must go to the economic planning body called Niti Aayog right now. Why I said this was, in the Environment Ministry there are any number of files like this will become one more file. The uniqueness of Rally for Rivers is that it's an economic policy with an ecological impact. Otherwise, normally how ecology is understood is, ecological protest means 25 people will stand on the street corner and protest against something, against a dam, against a road, against something or something. The most important thing is that we wanted to marry economy and ecology, that the way we do our economy need not be against our ecology. This is the fundamental of Rally for Rivers. And then the United Nations took it up. We became partners with United Nations Ecological Project. You must… I wish we had played that… do we have that video, that 2-minute video of Eric Solheim, if it's possible? And it was adopted by them, and we launched a decade of action. On March 22nd, we launched a decade of action with UN across the world. In all the tropical countries, this is decade of not talking or planning, decade of action with a huge budget behind it. So this work is going on in various countries because the recommendations we gave are relevant for all tropical nations. Some of the things that have been recommended are largely towards farming because most of the riverside lands are farmed in this country, except the upper riparian lands which may be catchment. Most of the length of the river is farmed. So one important aspect is to make more food come from trees than from crops. This was the basic thing. So today, we have gone into this mode. Some states have taken steps where they want to convert 50% of their farming activity into horticulture. Andhra Pradesh has taken this step. We've been part of that. And in Maharashtra, we are planting 50 crore trees along the riverbeds. In Karnataka, in the Kaveri catchment, which is important for Tamil Nadu, we are planting 25 crore trees with Karnataka government. And in 6 other states in the country, we have signed MOUs for which action is in the process. And 84% of river water in this country is used for agriculture. So, how we use water for agriculture is an important thing. So one thing we came up with is integrated irrigation systems, micro-irrigation systems. The biggest problem in India is there is no scale. That means farmers' holdings are very small, very inefficient ways of doing things. For every 2 acres, there is a borewell and a borewell and a borewell. Water that was stored for 1,000,000 years is being pumped out without any sense of responsibility, because every farm is, average holding is 1 hectare, 2¼ acres in this country. So everybody has a borewell. To what extent means, in Coimbatore area, which is a rich agricultural land where we are, I just met a farmer who's 27 years of age. He has 3½ acres of land. I asked him, what's your water source? He says he has dug 9 borewells in 3½ acres. 9 borewells means nearly 1 crore rupees. 1 crore rupees means in 3½ acres, either someday he has to sell his land or run away from the village or hang from a tree. This is all the option is. There is no question of he earning 1 crore rupees, paying interest and paying back the money. There is no such possibility in 3½ acres. So we are driving our farming community in this direction. So we took up Yavatmal. Have you heard of Yavatmal? Maharashtra, anybody from Maharashtra? Yavatmal, you heard of Yavatmal? Where the Vagari river, 54-kilometer stretch of the river we've taken, Yavatmal is the epicenter of farmer suicides. Now with Maharashtra government, we produced our volunteers. I must tell you this, young people like you, many of them quit their very lucrative jobs, and when I gave a call, minimum 3 years, you must come. The only qualification I ask from you is never ask, what about me? For 3 years. Over 120 people landed up from 17 different states, and they are with us last 6–8 months. We have trained them in various aspects of river revitalization, and they prepared a detailed project report on the ground, meeting every farmer in the area. 7,600 families, every one of them have been met, and I have promised Maharashtra government in 2 to 3 years' time, we will see Yavatmal doesn't have a single suicide.
Real quick before it continues that, I was gonna say at the very he was going on for quite some time. I was gonna say, when you do government work, it takes so much time to get anything going. 1 year, it's a long time. But in terms of getting things moving, it's really not. It's really amazing he got things moving. I guess Sadhguru got connection in the government, or at the very least, the government understands how important this is to the country, which is a good thing. And it kind of sucks that, about the suicide rate, it really does suck quite a lot. I mean, I really don't know what to say about that, honestly. I think of the things that's going on in the United States, and I hear about issues, mental health issues, and I won't say it's all the same, because it's definitely not, but there are similar issues, again, like financial issues, people who wants to be providers and can't, and they feel like they can't do anything about it. It really sucks. And genuinely, it's really almost brings me to tears of how passionate Sadhguru is about this. And I guess the other thing I remember I was going to say now is the fact that I'm amazed Sadhguru could remember all of this. Like he is not thinking about it, he's just spewing it out like it's all right there. I mean, I usually have to think about stuff, and he's just going about it. He knows all these statistics, the stats, what exactly is going on. So you can clearly see that he is really involved in this. At least I hope so. Otherwise, how do you remember this kind of stuff? Either he has really, really good memory, or for me, what's more believable, he is, what do you call, on the ground with this, paying attention to all the things that he's doing. Because when you're working on something, if you're directly working with it, you will remember it. But if you're hands off, you're just like, well, it's maybe this or that. You don't really remember it very well because you're not hands on with it.
This is not by talking to them, not by giving them spiritual teaching, simply by enhancing their economic possibility. Very easily we can multiply their economy. Each farmer can earn 3 to 5 times more than what they're earning right now within 3 to 4 years' time, maximum 5 years' time. It is over 1,000 crore project along with Maharashtra government, now various other agencies are joining up. And they have formed a special purpose vehicle to execute this project. The idea is to set up a large-scale module where successfully farmers' life can be transformed in a matter of 3 to 5 years. If modules like this come up in a few states, then it'll go like wildfire. Right now we are looking at creating one module in the south, one module in the north, so that people can see there is economic success. Any amount of preaching and teaching is not going to work if we make an economically successful module which will also preserve our ecological wealth that we have in this country. That is the only way forward, and we have done this in small scale in Tamil Nadu and various other places, but now we are going for a major model there in Maharashtra. We could be doing another model in Karnataka. Karnataka is one state which has experimented with micro-irrigation in a big way. And we got 5,000 crores allotted for micro-irrigation this year. And central government has promised every year they will allocate 5,000 crores. But the problem is this, the scale is small. If farmers put micro-irrigation in their little farm, it'll work for 2 years and then it'll all go bad, it won't work. So we are looking how to take this investment off the farmer's hand. Industry will invest and farmers will only pay rent for the irrigation. One major revolution is possible in this, that is, right now farmers are going to the land every day. One thing is to assert, this is my land. He owns it, his father owned it, his grandfather owned it, but still every day he has to go there and prove that this is my land, otherwise somebody will start plowing into his land. So one thing is to digitally survey everything and put it in format. We want to bring 10 to 50,000 farmers together and make an integrated irrigation system. If you do this, the farmer need not go to the land every day. Another reason why he goes to the farm is just to turn on the pump. 60 to 65 days, if a farmer goes to his land, effectively he can grow 2 crops in a year. This means 300 days in a year, 500 million people, their hands will become free. If their hands become free, the amount of ancillary industry, art, music and variety of other things that you can do in this country will be phenomenal. This is what we are driving towards with Rally for Rivers. And also, it's taken off very well with the United Nations and they're taking this up. You must see the way the Rally for Rivers document is appreciated in UN, you won't believe this, how they took it and how they embraced it the moment they saw it, because they wanted a plan where it is not ecology versus economy, it is economy and ecology together, complementary to each other. That's what is happening. Young people can stand up and volunteer for short periods of time in your vacations or whatever in this many areas where action is happening. Next year, if things go right with the Karnataka government, the political instability, if that thing goes well, probably in the next monsoon, we will be going for a major plantation in Karnataka, the Kaveri catchment area. It'll be very nice if Tamil people, young people from Tamil Nadu come there and volunteer and work in Karnataka, because the river belongs to the people who live along the river. It doesn't matter what language we speak.
Okay, so I thought of something while he was making that speech. and it reminded me of the one lady. I think it's in that famous video with the guy that was jealous of Sadhguru. Um, but anyways, how Sadhguru here, there's a problem, and he took up action, talking with governments and all of this. Now, don't get me wrong, not anyone can just do that, and I understand completely. You know, if you see a problem, you can't just go to the government and say, "There's a problem, we need to fix it." You know, you're nobody. Sadhguru is not a nobody, but it's to kind of a little bit of I don't want to say hope, but a lot of hope actually. Not a little bit of hope, but a lot of hope that, you know, when you see people standing up for what they believe in and making change. Again, it goes back to that young lady that talked to Sadhguru saying, "Hey, you know, I volunteer my time." I can't quite remember. She says, I think she says she volunteers her time in a small village which is struggling. What can is there anything you can do to help, or something along those lines? And Sadhguru says, "We'll get in touch with you, hang out afterwards. We'll help you with whatever you need for that village." That young lady, amazing. Why? Because I'm almost crying here, because that inspiration of her wanting to make that change, not I was going to curse there, not complaining, not saying you need to fix this, but her herself doing it. No, don't get me wrong. She needs to bring up this message while doing it at the same time, so she doesn't do it alone. But when I see Europeans, white people, Europeans, and I don't necessarily see this in. I am starting to see this in the United States, actually, I think. But Europeans who go and splash the paintings with tomato sauce and gluing their hands on stuff, they just complain. That's all they're doing. They're just complaining. Stop oil. Glue their hands on the ground. You know what? If I was a police officer, I'm gonna yank that hand off. Hey, look, I'm not the one that's stupid enough to glue. They irritate me. They irritate the crap out of me, because all they're doing is complaining. That young lady, I'm sure she's not rich at all. As a matter of fact, I'm sure everyone who's bitching and complaining in Europe is much richer than her, but she is doing something about it. Generally speaking, people like her, inspiration. Europeans, again, not all Europeans, of course, it's just the stupid ones. And even in America, the stupid ones here too. Just stupid, because all they know how to do is complain. They are great at complaining. You want a master of complaints? Talk to those people. Oh man. And generally, yeah, you know, when you see a whole bunch of people really want to do this and pull together, especially the young folks, you know, it's really great. It really great. It gives you hope. I'm complaining right now, Jesus.
Hi, my name is Abhirami, and I'm pursuing my first year in Bachelor's in Computer Science here at CG. So my question is, all of us here, have been through more than 15 years of education, but I haven't found an application or use for many of the things I've learned. So why do I find some of the things I learned pointless?
I mean, I went in computer science myself, and you know, I asked the professor. That's we all have kind of assigned professors, guidance counselors, professors. I was like, what kind of work can I get with this? It's like, anything, like anything. And I mean, what do you mean by anything? Is that's too broad? Like, the thing is that I learned Cobalt. What's the Tran. Can't remember what the Tran one was. Machine language too. That was terrible. You have to assign every variable to a very specific spot in your RAM, and then to make sure that you have to clear it and delete it. Otherwise, you're gonna fill up your RAM. You'll have leak in your RAM. Oh god. Then you have Java and C and C++. Oh, just learning all these different languages, like, and Python. I actually really like Python. But anyways, it's like, well, I'm not. Maybe I should have stuck with one language and really focused on that one. Because I don't know, like, it was kind of like, I guess, in an era where, well, there's 5 languages. Pick any one that you want. It's like, well, I don't know. Should I focus on one? Should I learn them all just in case? I feel for your question there, ma'am. Because I was kind of still didn't get a job for my degree though, but I got something in my hobby. I got a job for my hobby. Oh man, why does it seem pointless? I wouldn't say it's pointless. I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the problem with at least mine in particular is that I've known quite a few languages, but never really mastered any of them. It was terrible. So it's like, I know a little bit, I know structures, I know how to read it a bit, but I never mastered any of them. I don't know if I would have considered myself intermediary among any of them. Beginner level. So I don't say it's pointless, but if you did the same process as me, you may seem like I don't have enough knowledge in this. Unless you specified, if you specified for a very particular language, then at least look for a job that goes with that particular language that you're learning. It's like, oh, I know C++ very well. Is this the language you use? It is? Great, I know how to do it. I work perfectly for it. But if you know like 50 of them and you mastered none of them, well, you're screwed. Plus, I graduated in a bad time.
No, that should not be happening in an engineering college. I can understand that in a high school. Most of them are pointless. But in a technical school, that shouldn't be happening. But the important thing is our education system. I wouldn't say that so much about the technical schools like this, but largely our education system was created just to provide clerks for Her Majesty's service.
Fortran, that's it.
There was no imagination behind it. Obedience was the most important aspect of our education system. This is why you have to just mug up a whole textbook and puke it there, and that's what's supposed to be excellence in education. I wouldn't say that about technical education, I think it's different. So, right now, we wrote a policy on textiles in India, we wrote a policy on the rivers and agriculture. Right now, we are busy writing a policy on education. Of my constant push, recently government announced that in future, in the schools, only 50% of the time in school should be focused towards academics, rest should be focused towards sport, art, music, craft and variety of things. If you do not know this, this was announced just about a month ago. But announcement is fine, but the schools are not equipped to shift. Our schools are made like this. There is a whole lot of… I always said, as much as math and science, there must be that much of music, art, variety of other things. Our schools are managed like this, but that's a small number. Right now, we have convinced the government and government has announced, central government has announced this, but to implement it on the ground, it's still far away because it needs infrastructure, it needs human infrastructure, it needs physical infrastructure, training and various things which are yet to happen in this country, it'll take time. But at least that intention has come and we are seeing how schools, academic part of the school for a whole lot of children should not be more than 3 to 4 hours a day max. 3.5 hours is all I'm thinking about. Rest of the time, they must learn other things. Right now, we have created a nation where if a farmer's son goes to the farm with his father, father can be arrested for child labor. Yes, really. If you take your child to the farm and both of you are working on the land, people can come and arrest you.
What?
Because you're doing child labor.
Is that true? That can't be true. Are you telling me if you ask your son to sweep up the kitchen or pick up some clothes from, washing or from the hangers, is that child labor too? Doing chores around the house is not labor. It's just maintaining. I mean, I guess technically farming's a job more so than the house maintenance, but I mean, Is that true though? I had something else to say, but I had to pause for that one. I can't remember it. Oh, I guess the other thing I was going to say is, I'll wait.
There is something very dangerous growing in the country. We've looked at this, we've kind of asked so many people. Today, if you ask the farmers in the land, are there people who your parents are from the farming community? Are there children? Only one or two? If you ask any farmer in the country, how many of you want your children to go into farming? It's just 2 to 4%.
Close enough.
So in another 25 years, when this generation passes, who is going to grow food in this country? I want to know. You may have technical knowledge, you may do an MBA, you may have various things. Do one thing, go on the land and take out one crop, let me see. It's too complex. We think farming is for the illiterate. It is not so. It is a very complex, meticulous operation. Just because he doesn't have formal education, it doesn't mean that he has no brains. It doesn't mean he doesn't know something. He knows something very vital because of which all of us are eating right now. Yes? Our stomachs are full. But this nation has the danger. This nation has the danger of not being able to grow its own food in the next 25 years. So we are looking at how only a certain number of children need to go into academic education. Others need to learn other skills and variety of other things to do in the country for their own well-being. Not everybody's brains are made for academics, they simply suffer their academic life, a whole lot of them. Some of them have great joy in academics, a whole lot of them suffer their academic thing and the examinations and studying. How people are suffering, I'm seeing, these people should not be doing academics. They should be learning some other skills where their aptitude is. There is nobody to identify what is your aptitude, what is it that you could do well with joy.
Speaking about that, actually, it's interesting. In the United States, there's a lot of boys that they're saying they're bad boys because they can't sit in their seat, they mess around, they talk, and they act like, well, boys. And then I think I hear like maybe they're prescribing, is it Adderall? Something to, like Sadhguru talks about, to dull the boys, I guess. So they're not so energetic, they're just there, quiet, kind of like they're absent-minded, kinda. It's really kind of scary, and it's interesting, that excuse me, sorry. Okay, anyway, there. It's interesting because our academic system is quite old, and I mean it has worked, but then I remember a lot of people complaining. It's like, oh, when I'm gonna do logarithmic equations and exponential equations and imaginary numbers, it's like, well, these are not things that you necessarily do on an everyday basis. You need to do add, subtract, multiply, divide. I think those four are necessary for just even everyday things. Now, like exponents, parentheses, logarithmic, sine, cosine, tangent, etc. Maybe not so much. Because those things are necessary for like engineering, going into mechanic or space stuff, those are, I'm sure, quite vital. And I perhaps those can be moved out of our education system because there's just, like, honestly, on an everyday basis, what do you need that for? I mean, it's kind of weird, throughout history, I think humans have fought for education. Now that we have education, we're kind of like, well, we went a little bit too far. Maybe not too much, you know. The basics, great, and then when we specialize in something, learn what's needed. But they're just kind of just like throwing everything at the kids. And it's like, you know what? Let's see what sticks. You know that one? Good. What about the other ones? No? Okay, well, anyways, good luck. But, I mean, I get it, though. I think it's good to... It was one of my favorite classes in high school. This one class where there's 50 different modules in the class, and each modules deal with something different, like growing plants, rocks, looking at lasers, looking at just different things in the module. So it's kind of like a little touch of everything in reality. And the great thing about that is that if there's something that you find that's very interesting, you're like, oh my gosh, I never knew about this and I like this. I want to dig deeper into this. And I think that's great and fantastic. I wonder if Sadhguru is talking about that.
This needs to happen at an early time. Between the ages of 10 and 15, we must have a process in the education system where people can choose. And above all, it should be made… You know, right now the problem, one reason why everybody wants to go to medicine or engineering is because there is a social prestige nonsense. An electrician or a carpenter must have the same prestige that a doctor or an engineer has. Only then education will get leveled out.
Well, there is some truth to… there is a lot of truth to that, but you just don't see it, because it's always hidden. And, you know, you look at people who… You look at different parts of the country, that's any country, and find out what's lacking there. Imagine a carpenter. There's only one carpenter in a city. You can charge whatever you want because you're the only one there. Or maybe you're 5 of them there, and you're all… Everyone has… You know, everyone's called you up, and it's like, you know what? You know, I have 50 on my plate right now. I have 50 people I have to go to. You know, I don't know if I can take you. Like, if there's such a high demand for it, pay will rise because the people need those people. You know, especially like farmers. If you don't make enough food and people are starving, you know, people will pay premium food because you gotta have food, you gotta have shelter, you gotta have water.
Above all, a farmer must have a higher place in this society than any of us. He's feeding us.
Sadhguru, can you have one last question?
I'm okay. You may run out of questions, but I don't run out of answers, so I'm okay.
Good evening, sir. I'm Kaushik Aravind from College of Engineering, Gindi. My question is, இப்போ தமிழ்நாடுல ட்ரெண்டிங்காக இருக்கிற விஷயம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மூவி ஸ்டார்ஸ், டாப் மூவி ஸ்டார்ஸ் அவங்க ப்ரைம் டைம் முடிஞ்சவொடனே டைரெக்டாக பாலிடிக்ஸ்க்கு வந்துடுறாங்க. நிறைய பேர் வரேன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க, ஆனால் வரமாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. பட் தட் இஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட். நாங்கள் டீனேஜர்ஸ் ஒரு காமன் பீப்புள் அவங்கள வந்து மூவியில் பார்க்கும்போது we admire them and we admire their different roles, but should we support their political role? That is my question.
I love it how you went between English and I guess Tamil, the language, because it reminds me of my mom and my relatives. They go between our native dialect and potentially the national language as well. Well, actually, when we're talking to our people, they do our native dialect, and it goes between that and English. Reminds me of home a little bit, but it sounds like he's asking a question about perhaps like superstars, movie stars, and about their political view and whether they should follow it. No. I think it's a bad idea for anyone with any kind of power or not. Let me put it this way: power or not, because I always try to see things as all equal. Your friends, your family, superstars, whatever. The prime minister. Even if the prime minister is trying to get elected, he should not be saying "elect me," even though obviously he should and he shouldn't. But I think anyone should say just go out and vote. Don't say you need to vote for this party or you need to vote for that party. That should never be the case. The case should be, go vote. Who you vote for, I don't care. Kinda, but just go vote. Go vote who you believe will do the country right by your ideas. I think that should be the message everyone should send. We should not be playing as people, we should not be playing favorites, and we should not be judging people based on who they vote for, because that's if they genuinely believe the person they vote for is the best, they believe that's the best person to vote for, I would not hate them for that, so long as they genuinely believe that.
Should we encourage them to perform that role?
See, as we are a democratic nation, anybody can get into political life. Anybody can become a leader in this country. This is the fundamental right in a democratic process. Now, somebody may be, well, this has become, it's very cliche to even say this now, a tea seller can become a prime minister. This is a fantastic thing. This is a fantastic thing that in a country, somebody who sold tea on the railway station can grow to become a prime minister. But we are not electing him because he made good tea. We are electing him because we believe he can be a good leader. The same goes for the actor also. Because he is a good actor, you do not elect him. If you think he is going to make a good leader, yes, nothing wrong with the acting profession, as there is nothing wrong with tea selling or anything for that matter. So what their background is, it doesn't matter. It's for you to take a judicious call whether these people will make good leaders or not. But because you like them in a movie, you make them into leaders in this country, no, that should not happen. But if you believe they will make good leaders, why not?
Real quick with that one too. I completely agree with that. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I believe that's her name, something along those lines. I am very happy she won, because she was just a woman in a barista shop and won a seat in the house, one of the houses. I disagree with her point of view, but at the same time, I am very happy that she won. People voted for her, they believe that she'll do the right thing, and I'm glad. Why am I glad? Well, because that shows, hopefully it shows the young people in America that you can make it. I want her to be an inspiration in terms of that if you really try, I don't think she did, but if you have no competition, but put it this way, it's just to show people that even someone young can make it. It's gonna be hard work for the most part. There can be some districts that are, maybe a lot easier than others, but still, I'm happy that she won, even though I disagree with her point of views and a few things. I don't know if it's all of them or not, because I really don't. I disagree with a lot that she's said and done, but I don't know if it's necessarily all of them. But again, that doesn't change the fact that I'm happy that she won. I think she's made bad decisions. I think she's hurt her district, but that's been a while. Haven't really kept up with her very much. But I just hope young people can use that as like, you know what? If she can make it, I can too. Kind of like that young lady that talked to Sadhguru at one time. That's trying to make change. That's trying to do good, and she's doing it by action and not complaining necessarily. Don't get me wrong, you need to get people to know what you're doing so you can get some more help, that you're not doing it all by yourself, but still, she's still doing it though. That's the thing. Complain and doing it, just complaining, no.
Thank you, Sadhguru, for answering all our questions. We feel privileged to have got answers from you, and there's a lot of clarity that we have now.
It is.
The spark ignited in us will be carried on, I'm sure, and people will learn from this.
Oh, carrying a spark is no good.
You need
If
a
somebody
bonfire.
gives you a spark, you must burst into a flame. Only then it's worthwhile, the spark, isn't it? If you carry just the spark, what's the point? Anyway, all of you, I want you to understand one thing. We are at a phenomenal time in terms of technology, in terms of empowerment that human beings have. Never before humanity was as empowered as it is today. Yes or no? Never before. But are we going to turn this empowerment into something phenomenal, or are we going to waste it, using it for ridiculous things, the same technology and the possibilities? Above all, in this country right now, see, the only nation which managed to push nearly 1 billion people from one level of living to another in 50 years' time is China. But they did it forcefully, with lot of blood and gore and pain, lot of pain. But they pushed 1 billion people from poverty to a better level of living. Never before in history of humanity such a large population was ever moved in such a short span of time. But now in India, we are sitting on the threshold where over 500 million to 600 million people can be moved from extreme states of poverty to a much higher way of living on all levels of life. In the next 10 to 15 years' time, if you just do the right things, without guns, without blood, without torture, just through the democratic process we can do it. Never before, never ever before in the history of humanity something like this has happened. So it's our privilege we are living at this time, but the question is, will we make it happen or will we just sit on the threshold and twiddle our thumbs? This is where we are right now. It's my wish and my blessing. All of us should use this empowerment that we have into a phenomenal process that of all the generations which have lived till now, we have the possibility that people can look at us as the greatest generation ever till now, at least till now, maybe not in future, we don't know who will come next, but till now, we have the possibility. Will we make it possible? Because always between possibility and reality there's a distance. It takes commitment and courage to walk that distance. I'm asking all of you, do you have the commitment and courage to walk that distance, make this into a great nation and a great contribution to the rest of the world? Thank you very much.
Okay. Again, quite inspirational there. I mean, you can really tell, at least for me, you can really tell whenever she asked that question on Sadhguru about the Rally for Rivers that he knew it right off the top of his head, meaning that that stuff is fresh and he was directly involved with it. Because obviously, with Sadhguru going through so many different things, going through so many different speeches, flying all over the place, taking care of stuff at home, it's hard to remember things. Especially, I don't know how old he is, but man, your memory is not as good when you're older, unless, again, but if it's something that you recently touched up on, that's something that's usually fresh in your memory. So to me, that seems very clear that he was very much involved in that, and that's a great thing. It's great to have great leaders like that, to have someone that people can look up to and inspire to be, and is such a good human being, to do so many great things. I don't know if we have anything like that in America. I mean, I'm sure we do have some good people, but it's a little bit, how to say, indirect, I suppose. I know I've heard like Nicolas Cage donating a lot of money to charities and stuff. I think that's great. If you can't put in the work to just donate money, I think that's a good thing. I would say it's nowhere near like what Sadhguru is doing. Even if Sadhguru doesn't put in the money but needs the money and people donate to him, I think that's great because he's the one that's doing all the legwork, the one that's doing all the hard stuff. Giving money when you're rich is easy, but putting the legwork is hard no matter no matter whether you're rich or poor. That's the thing I can appreciate about people who actually do the legwork. Again, I'm always reminded by that young lady in that college about, you know, she seemed very mad and angry, or should I say passionate, that's the right word, passionate about what she was doing. And Sadhguru said, you know, Sadhguru was almost like, why don't you come up to us? We'll help you. We're more than happy to help you. I have this program here to help you with that problem. And I think it's the same video with the ever infamous person who just hates Sadhguru. Why? I don't know. And even some of the comments recently too, I've seen saying fake gurus. Like, you know, I look, you can disagree with the person, absolutely. I hope you can acknowledge the good things he's done. Now, I would need people to verify that, you know, the Rally for Rivers is actually working, the Save the Soil is actually working. What he's saying about his, you know, his places is actually doing what he says, you know, where they'll train people for free, free lodging and food. If you want to relax there for a day, you know, obviously need receipts. If Sadhguru is actually doing all this, and if he is, then what? That's great. And I mean, I'm sure Sadhguru's organization gets a lot of donations, and especially was it Tata's? Hopefully Tata's as well. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if Sadhguru has like expensive cars or houses or anything. I don't really see any of that. He likes motorcycles. Those are not very expensive. Well, they can be, but for the most part, it's not. And anyways, obviously him flying airplanes, going to all these meetings and stuff, you kind of have to do that. There's just no getting around it. If you want to do the meetings, if you want to make the world a better place, the best way to do is fly. You walking there, it's going to take forever. You riding there or driving there, it's going to take forever. And don't get me wrong, Sadhguru for Rally for Rivers, when he's riding that BMW, you know he was having fun with that. But can't blame the dude, because if you can have fun and do something good at the same time, that's a win-win in my boat. But yeah, I'm sure I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you can have fun riding motorcycles, but man, after sitting in that seat for a long time, I'm sure it can be quite achy. So it's probably a lot of fun and a lot of soreness all at the same time. But yes, I think that's all I have to say. Anyways, that's it for Sadhguru at An University in Chennai. I hope I said that correctly. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.